Hey guys, it is Dani and welcome to this updated video on the tropics. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Tropical Depression Fred as well as newly formed Tropical Storm Grace, which is approaching the Caribbean and is going to be a threat to sections of the Eastern Caribbean as we're going to be heading into the early part of the new week. And so before I go into details, okay, and let us kickstart things with Tropical Depression Fred. So looking at the satellite imagery of it, we see here that it is a very disorganized tropical cyclone right now, mainly because of all the land interaction that has been going on with the system, and the center of it is just over western Cuba. And so the system here is expected to make its way into the Gulf of Mexico as we're going to be heading into the new week. And so looking at the cone forecast from the National Hurricane Center, we see that Fred has sustained winds of 35 miles per hour and it is accelerating to the west-northwest at 13 miles per hour. So it should remain as a tropical depression throughout today, but by tomorrow morning very early we're expecting it to regenerate into a tropical storm, because now it would be getting all that moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and then it is going to be approaching the Gulf Coast by Monday going into Tuesday. And so what you're seeing in blue is a tropical storm warning that is in effect for the Florida Keys west of the 7-mile bridge to the dry Tortugas. So those areas can expect tropical storm-like conditions such as very heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and even that storm surge. So if you're there, please take the necessary precautions and stay safe. So fortunately, Fred is not expected to strengthen into a very strong system. It might have maximum sustained winds of around 50 miles per hour or somewhere around there, but it is not expected to intensify into a hurricane. But regardless, if you're along the most westerly side of the Florida Panhandle or in South Alabama, you might experience the worst of the storm as it makes landfall, which is expected by Monday afternoon going into Tuesday. So the system is going to be moving very, very slowly at the time of landfall. So dangerous impacts are anticipated, and so we could see tropical storm watches or warnings being in place maybe tonight going into tomorrow. And so now let's go on to Grace. So looking at the satellite view of the storm here, it is looking very compact. The center of it is located to the northeast of Barbados, and it is quickly approaching the island chain right there. And so let us look at the cone forecast for Grace. And so we're seeing here that Grace has sustained winds of 40 miles per hour. It is taking a track a bit similar to that of Fred. And so it is accelerating westward at 22 miles per hour. So we have quite a bit of tropical storm warnings that are in place. So a tropical storm warning is in effect for Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Montserrat, Sabin, St. Eustatius, St. Martin and St. Bartholomew, British Virgin Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, including Vieques and Culebra. So those areas can expect tropical storm-like conditions to begin in probably about 24 hours or so. But by tonight, the system is really going to be making its way very close and approaching the islands. So it is likely that those areas that I just listed will be experiencing the first tropical storm force winds as we're going to be heading into later tonight. And so, as I said, it's taking a path similar to that of Fred. The system is expected to cross over Puerto Rico, over the Dominican Republic and Haiti, move a bit north of Cuba, and then seeming as though it's going to be making its way into the Gulf of Mexico. So this is quite interesting, back-to-back storms along the same path. This somewhat reminds me of last year with Eta and Iota, how they both affected the same place just about 2 weeks apart, but these two systems are just days apart. And so now let's take a look at what our models are anticipating in terms of the system. So first up is the GFS model, and so this is a map showing the isobars, which are lines of equal pressure, which are the black lines. And so when you see them being in a circular manner with the pressure below 10-13 millibars, that is a low pressure system and can be our tropical cyclones. So that is what we're looking for. And so this is by Tuesday, the 17th of the month. And so here we have GFS showing Fred not very organized or strong, moving along the Florida Panhandle, and then Grace making its way over the eastern section of Hispaniola. Let's go further out to Friday the 20th, and we see that we don't see much become of Fred, but we do have Grace making its way toward the southern portion of Florida as a 997 millibar low. So that is a tropical storm. probably intensifying a bit. And so GFS is showing that by Sunday the 22nd, Grace is going to be making its way into Florida. So it's showing a 983 millibar low here. So this is potentially a Category 1 hurricane. And by Monday, it shows the system make its way up through Georgia and into South Carolina. But again, guys, this doesn't have to be the outcome with Grace, so things can change. And just in the day or so when it became a potential tropical cyclone to now when it is a tropical storm, quite a bit has changed with the track slightly. And so now let's look at what Euro is showing. So this is Tuesday the 17th as well. So it is showing that Fred is going to be moving towards the Florida Panhandle, and it is showing Grace as a very weak system, most likely disorganized as well, just north of Haiti. And then as we head to the 24th of August, here we have Euro showing something very interesting, and they have been quite consistent with this scenario. A tropical storm developing out in the main development region just to the southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands. So as we're going to be heading later down into August and September, this is what is generally anticipated. We're going to be having these systems developing from out in the Atlantic and making their way in. But again, this is not even guaranteed to happen, and if it does, let's hope that this does not hit anywhere as a strong tropical cyclone. But I mean, conditions are getting increasingly favorable, so I would not be surprised if we have a system like this. And so the next name to be used for this hurricane season is Henri. And so as of right now, we don't have any new disturbances to watch, but things can change in just a matter of days. So looking at the ocean temperature map here, we see that ocean temperatures in the Gulf are very conducive, as well as in the northwestern Caribbean and just in the vicinity of the Bahamas. So these ocean temperatures will fuel our two tropical cyclones, but Grace is not going to be getting very strong due to all the land interaction which is anticipated with it. And in terms of the wind shear now, we see that we have a lot of favorable shear which is marked by the green being in the vicinity of the Caribbean. We do have some yellows and reds being in the Gulf and in sections just north of the Caribbean. The yellow mean neutral and the red mean unfavorable. So whenever you see a lot of those reds, the environment is not very favorable, and we do have the systems being mostly weak or weakening as they're going to be moving into that unfavorable shear because it just rips them up. And so fortunately, we're expecting that because of a bit of that unfavorable and neutral shear right there in the land interaction, Grace is not going to be very strong. But as I said, we have to wait and see what the eventual outcome is going to be. But again, most of the Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico are under a tropical storm warning. So if you're there, please take all the necessary precautions and stay safe. And so guys, that is it for this update. And if you found it to be quite informative, please give a thumbs up, and you can also share your thoughts with me in the comments or ask a question. I'll try to respond as best and as soon as I can. And just remember to always do otherwise.